So I noticed in class that when you talk, you leave a bit of space before the next thing that you say.
Before I talk again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I do that because we're working with culturally and linguistically diverse students, some of whom have English as a second, third, fourth language.
Yeah.
And it's very important to not assume that they understand what you're talking about. So if there's a waterfall of language, it's too much for them to catch the drops. They need to have a space so that they can process. My name's Marilyn Pett. I work at Centralian Senior College in Alice Springs. In my fairly extensive experience of working with students that are from culturally diverse backgrounds, I've discovered that one of the special things in teaching them is being able to use what you find immediately at hand, but also what they bring in, because they often bring something, and from that something you can extrapolate to a bigger thing, to a bigger picture.
Whenever I think of Gillimbor, I think of my great-grandmother. It's like the blood running through our bodies. No other place can compare to Gillimbor.
The Gateways program that I work in, it is predominantly Indigenous students here. We're doing traditional courses, for want of a better word, from a slightly different approach. The whole approach in Gateways is a much more community-based approach. I think it's really important too to not deny them access to the meta-language, to not think, oh, because they're not speaking English well, I'll dumb down the way I'm saying something. I think it's really important to use the meta-language, but then to put in parenthesis a much simpler version. It became quite clear to me very early on that teacher out the front type teaching wasn't really going to be effective. So I elected to develop a wiki space in which all the assessment tasks and a lot of material is presented. And because I know most of these students have difficulty with text, I chose to make the wiki as visually rich as possible. The wiki's got some important questions in it, and the project is all about questions. There are some additional links in here that are very, very significant depending on what topic you've chosen. But this is the actual government policy on multiculturalism. One of the benefits of working one-on-one with these students is the fact that they are less verbal than other cohorts of students, and a lot of their communication is actually through body language itself or facial expressions. If you, though, do take different stories and look at what's similar and what's different, you're meeting this performance standard, do you reckon?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, especially if it's in depth.
Yeah.
Because even, look down here, what does this say? Competent analysis. Because you know how we talked about analysis was like pulling things apart?
Yeah.
And then kind of rebuilding what we'd pulled apart?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to have that intimacy of one-on-one encourages their style of expression so that they can then learn to expand their style of expression into a more academic medium. Do we want equal life chances? I reckon we should have lots of chances, don't you? And that's great. One mob, one voice, one chance, one choice. That's fantastic. I think all the students, well, at least 95% of the students we work with here are low socioeconomic students. They haven't had the same 1,000 hours of pre-reading. So in supporting them, one thing I do is always have a map in the room. A map to me is my basic, apart from the wiki, my basic teaching tool, because they do not know where countries are. I do spend a lot of time supporting them with background knowledge, I suppose, that is not there in their family context. Being able to present content areas to the students that, one, suit the syllabus or the curriculum that you're having to work with, and two, meet students' needs in terms of their need to feel connected to the content, I feel is extremely important when working with students from diverse cultural backgrounds.
What teaching and learning strategies can be used to cater for students of diverse linguistic and cultural backgrounds? What specialist knowledge and skills are required of teachers with Aboriginal and/or Torres Strait Islander students? What knowledge, skills, and capabilities would you need to acquire to develop a wiki for your students?